Castle and welcome to the shop. I've got a little project to show you today. You might think this is like, well, you know, perhaps, but maybe. Well, all you got to do now, you know the deal, you got to watch. I'm into a couple of different things. Guys send me wood. Steve sent me this Texas ebony, hardened rock, but it made some nice pens. But I needed to drill a pen, and if I'm making a pen like this kitless pen, which uses a, where is it at? Here it is, a Bic refill goes in that pen to make it useful. These are 14 cents plus a lot of scrap wood. I got tons of scrap wood down there. If I make this, I have to drill a hole down the center of a pen blank 5.5 to 6 inches deep. That's not as easy as you think. And I know I've talked about this before, but then I got to thinking about it. What if you had a jig or a rig or a kick or a Bic or a Bic, etc., that would help you? So I came up with this. Yes. Oh, it's got glue all over it. This is a holder backer. Yes. It's registered, not patented, just registered. It's called the holder backer, and this will help me drill pen blanks. How? Rotating livestock, right? Okay. I use a one-way, but they make my Jet and Delta robust. Half a dozen people make these things. Don't get the cheap one. This is 1/2 of all your turning operations is going to happen using this one tool. But they make a cone that fits on this thing like this. But that won't hold the pen. But this one will. Put that in my tailstock. Line it up, and when I put my drill bit over here and I put my pen blank in here, I'm going to register the blank to be centered. Then all I'm going to do is hit this center, gradually I'll show you about that. But that's what we're going to build today. We're going to build this little rig so you can get a little more versatility out of what you're working in the shop. And this is a piece of scrap that had a big blim in it, and I figured, I wouldn't miss that. Well, I missed a chance to throw it away. But it's all treated with super glue now. It looks pretty good. It's a nifty project. Stick around. We're going to get into it. I really like going to page one. Page one is, I've got this block of wood, and I'm going to make a jig out of it to go onto my revolving center to assist me in making really cheap ink pens. I'm cheap. Somebody said I got budget problems. I wish I could get a budget. All right. But I'm going to turn this down. I got up between centers. I'm running my lathe around. I got to do these numbers because you keep asking about the numbers. I'm running around 700 RPMs right now. And I'm going to take a D-Way skew. This is from Dave at D-Way Tools. And it's sharpened 25 degrees. And I honed it out with my diamond card so it's got a nice fresh edge on it. Shields up. Oh, it doesn't cut any better than that. I had a student come in last week and we did a little something. He says, well, you see that bump? Well, I have a flat spot right there. Do you see it's in a flat spot? So I'm not round yet. That's what part of that bump is. Number two is I'm getting it homogenized or where it's running. Now is the time to increase the speed so I get a better cut. Right? This is the trick. I went from being right-handed, because that's who I am, I want to turn a little bit left-handed. Why? Because a friend of mine named Jimmy Creel is left-handed. And one of the world's finest finial turners said, Jim, you got to change. You got to go to being right-handed. And Jim says, nope. On finials, this way, I'm better left-handed. He really is. So when I was rehabbing, I had to work on muscle memory. I said, no, I can do that. And I'm still peeling off shavings. See the peelings? Right? I'm going to crank the speed up a little bit. Go back to my right hand. Thanks for bearing with me. This is not a nice piece of wood. It really isn't. But I can, sharp tools and good cutting, I can fix it. Right now, I'm going to put a socket on this end, so I can put this in that number 2 jaws of my one-way. That is my template, right there. Now you can probably get an idea of this. All right, let's go. There we are. You see this? The little chunk of corian. This dimension outside, that's the size. Hey, we had to take a break. All right, we put a dovetail on here. Now, I talked to a lady on the phone a while back, and she said the guy at the something store told her that this dovetail is not that important. The chuck is. No. The chuck is as important as everything that goes in it, how it's held. That chuck right here, this inside edge, that's a dovetail. I don't use the ones with the serrations and all that. I don't need the marks on my work. All right. So to get in there and hold it, I made a template that tells me that that is my perfect size. See that size right there? I'm about 1/8 of an inch bigger than I really should be. But that'd be the right size to fit in here. Now, why is that important? I want this circle to match this circle as close as possible, because I want to get full bonding all the way around on this. I need a pencil to throw it away. But I want to get a full bond all the way around, and I want to be slightly recessed on this part right here, because I want it to grab it and pull it in. So I'm going to flip it around. Number 2 jaws on a one-way stronghold. My preference for a chuck. If you choose to do something else, shop around. They got some, it's called the Apprentice and the Barracuda, and some others that are pretty good. But if you're ever going to have a big lathe, get a big chuck. Alright, put it in there. It's really snugged in now. This piece will spin as true as it's spun in the other direction. You're going to say in a minute, why'd you go through all this? Because you're cutting it all the way later. Because I want it to be safe. I was talking to my buddy the other night, and he said he chucked up a piece of 2x4, 2x2, 1 3/4 inch, 1 3/4, whatever. And he was going to make a little spigot, and about halfway through, it broke off. And hit him right here. Right here. Wasn't that big of a piece, but it would have hurt. So this is safe. This is really solid. If I can get any vibration on it, I got to redo it, rework it. So now I've got my block that I'm going to start in this powered process with. Now we're going to start making a chuck out of it. Got it? Got it. Building this adapter, this chuck, this cone, this cup, this holder to fit on my one-way revolving center. See this bearing in here? All right. This piece right here, this is a 3/4 10, just like a bolt. I got at the hardware store. 3/4. Oop, I'm out of camera. 3/4 10 thread. All right, they match up. Bought this bolt at the hardware on the corner. Then at the same hardware, I got a 3/4 10 regular tap. This is Hanson, and it will cut these threads to match this nipple perfectly. Now, how am I going to do this? I'm kind of stuttering here because it's early in the day and I'm having a little problem functioning. Shield up. 5/8 inch bit. You need to be about that deep. Take your time drilling. Forstner's bit exude a lot of effort, a lot of energy. And see the packed up stuff coming out? But they don't have a large flute system, so it doesn't come out like it will when you twist drill. If you crank down on this tailstock, you can damage the wood. You can damage the piece, you can snap the bit, but you can burn it. And then you screwed up on it. So, take your time when you're drilling these holes. Next, we're going to tap that with that 3/4 10 I was telling you about. 3/4 10 tap. Now, it's got a D10 on that end. You see it? D10 on that end. We're going to work with this end in our revolving center. That's the key. I'm going to bring the center up. Just barely make contact. Not a lot of pressure. Barely making contact. Then I'm going to lock it in because I want to use it as control. Now, to do this right, I have to turn one or the other, or both at the same time, and the wheel, and the wrench. Okay, lathe. Hold that still. Good lathe. This is a 1/2 inch wrench. There's my 3/4 10. I'm going to put a little pressure and a little turn. Now, if you feel like you're horsing it, you're tearing it up. But if not, it's going to cut really nice and slick. You're threading wood with a tap. Don't tell the machinist people that. They get upset. Or the people that sell those rigs for doing all the threading and all. This works very, very nicely. Now, I'm not putting a lot of pressure on the tailstock, barely turning it as I turn this, because this is about 10 revolutions to an inch. This is 10 revolutions to an inch. All right. Then I'm going to go in. If I get any resistance, I've bottomed out. See, with 2 hands I can do this. There I am. I'm bottomed out. That's where I wanted to be. I just gently backed out the die, the tap. I know what it is. All right. You can't horse it because your ingrained threads are going to tear up. Oh, for you speed monkeys that say, you know, my lathe runs pretty slow, I can do that on the power. No, you can't. Just so you know. No, you can't. 3/4 10 bolt. Threads right in there. Isn't that nice? That's what's going to happen when I put my tailstock in. Oh, this is just a construction part. Alright? That's it. Now if I want to tighten up those threads, I'd squirt a little super fast trim EMO2 from Starbond. Not now, okay? You follow me along, because otherwise you're going to call me and say my thing is stuck. Do this. Put the super glue in it. It'll tighten up those threads a little bit, give it a little stability, and then you may have to take your tap and hand drive it just to roll it in and clean it up a little bit. It's just a trick, but it works. I guess we're all on page 1. I changed to my one-way stronghold chuck with number 1 jaws on it. It was easier for me to take the other chuck off and put another chuck on. I like Carl Jacobson. He's a great guy. To change those teeth in 30 seconds, that's really good. It took me 15 seconds to change the chucks and it's still set up. Okay, now, what I did is I put that bolt, that 3/4 bolt we had, and I tightened it up. Now I can hold something down to 3/8 of an inch on this stronghold chuck. And I have. Alright? I have that. Then I'm going to say, okay, Lathe, hold it again. Come on, get in there, girl. This is the piece we did, remember? Okay. Isn't that sweet? Thread right on there. Nice, lined up and everything else. Now I want to show you something. Watch right there. I'm a little bit out of round because of the threads. That's what happens. But I'm going to fix that. I'm going to ground this out. Put a spot for us to start so we can shape the rest of it. Got it? Got it. Rough and gouge. Tailstock backed up a little bit. Want to keep that pressure on. That's locking. Note, since my disability, I turn sitting down because if I keep shifting my hip, I lose my balance. So that's the reason I'm doing some of these things to show you. You can do it down, but watch, I got to move my whole body. I got to pick up, pardon me, I got to put one butt cheek down, start to cut, switch over to the other butt cheek, and then roll it over so the top half, all this mass goes across. If I do it with my arms, I'm going to twist. I don't want to do it with my arms. I want to do it with my torso so that it stays pretty straight. And read the bevel too. Let's put some shape on this thing. Uh-oh, there went our dovetail. Whoa. Way too much cutting. Let's get down to something reasonable. .3/8" bowl gouge, deep fluted, Ellsworth grind. I want to do some other shaping on this. I want to leave that little foot right there because I want to keep it stabilized as much as possible while I shape it. what am I making? All right. I want to turn some pens out of wood, and I want to drill them all the way through with a 3/16 6-inch drill bit. To do it, the trick is to get it lined up and get it pushed, and then you got to do it by hand. But you do the first inch, inch and a half with the tailstock because it keeps it straight. Then you take it over and you can feel it. Otherwise, you'll walk it in or walk it out or up or down. It'll come through the side. Trust me, it ain't nice. So I want to do this. This part right here is going to stabilize that pen blank, so when I put it up to line it up, it lines up. What I really want it to do is take this adapter for a one-way stronghold, put a one-way revolving center, and put the block down here. See, if I put a block down in here, it'll center up. If it's a square block, but it's got to be 1 3/4 inches, that's a lot of meat. So I wanted to make a smaller version of this. That's what I'm doing. I want to make this into a smaller version. You know what? I kind of like that shape. So yeah, but we're going to trim the cone down a little bit. That's what we're working on. The project is to hold something so we can turn it. If you can hold it, you can turn it. Oh, okay. We hollowed it down a little bit. I took a simple, really like this tool. I found it, almost had it for years. I got 4 or 5 other kinds like that. Little Bedan or pointed tool. This is from Robert Sorby. And it's good steel. And I put it on an angle and I went straight down and cleaned up that side because I'm end grain cutting. I want to cut it out nice. And I got down and I am just about to the center. I can see it. This is going to hold where I want to hold the pen blank to drill it. So the size of that cone is drawn on the graph paper and you'll understand it. Wait a minute, I think I did that. Mine is a terrible thing to waste. I just couldn't remember what a pad was I did it on. Graph paper notepad I get from Wally World. This is what we made, right here. I gotta zoom in and see it? Yeah. Alright, we threaded a piece, and we turned around, we left it straight, and then we put this little flare in it to hold the pen blank. It's a pen drill jig, using a 3/4 by 10 tap pour revolving center. You got it? It's laying this way, right here. Now, what is that going to do for us? Now, you might be into this drilling wood stuff. If I take a block and want to put a hole in the middle of it, this is going to be over here. This will center it up. Yeah, it will. No matter where I go, when I come back up and go to the center, I'm going to be centered up. Now, why? Because this. When you do it by hand, you will lose the center. Ta-da! Couldn't save that one. This is some Texas ebony I got from Steve. Really hard wood. That's what that jig is. We turn around and put it in place. And in place means it goes onto the revolving center. Not a lot of magic here, just some tips and tricks. This is pretty simple. We have our revolving center. I like the one way. And see, it spins, so I'm not in a bind. That's important because pressure when you're drilling can be your enemy. Now, I want to drill this piece, and I'm going to mark it where I think I want the center at. I can do it with this. Boy, this Texas ebony is hard stuff, Steve. Appreciate him bringing it by, but whew, it's a job. All right, now, I have that mark where I want to go. I want to hit that right on here, but here's the key part. If this back end is moved, I won't drill straight. So how am I going to get around that? There we are. Brought up the tailstock. I'm right in that center. Way too fast. Slight pressure. You can't go 6 inches. Don't even try. Right now it's binding up. Look. That smoke. Hi-ho silver. What did we do? We just drill the hole in the center, straight in the center. Okay, you're not going to do ink pens. Suppose you do a lamp, or finial, or a post, or a spigot, or you got to drill the hole straight through the middle of it. The technique I'm showing you takes the hazard out of it. And if you, once you get started, you can go back to it. Now I'm going to go back to it again, right? I'm going to drill through. By hand. It's hard to understand from where you're at, but we started off, not the lower hole, we started off in its center. Remember, I'm re-drilling it blank. And when it came out on the other side, it came out pretty damn close to being centered. Yeah, and that was on a good true run. So that little jig worked out. It'd help you. Say I had a finial that I need to put a wire through for something. This rig, get it straight. Takes a little time, but coming through the side undoes a whole lot of time. So you got to take your time in doing it. And always remember that bit gets hot. And if you need to check it with somebody else's hand. Is that thing hot? Here, come check it. Don't do that. No, that hurts. Okay? Want to keep you safe and get you out there and get you busy. I like this little rig. I really do. Really, I should have taken a little more time and cleaned it up, sanded it. But I got time to do that. In fact, I might just recheck it and clean it and do that now. Because I got to get busy. I got to start making shavings. You do too. This is nice.